Space camp registrations doubled after Artemis II splashed down, and the current NASA administrator went to space camp as a kid and is now running the agency. A man in Florida found a fanny pack with $30,000 in a Wawa bathroom, spent days looking for the owner and returned every dollar. And a new Oxford Longevity Project report says at least 80% of your health outcomes in old age are driven by choices and environment, not genetics. Every day, the news cycle produces roughly 1,000 stories. About 6 of them are about politics. I went looking for the rest. This is News Side Quest. When Artemis II splashed down on April 10th, they said that the reaction was more unified and more emotional than I expected, that people needed something to root for, and the mission delivered. Now we have a concrete measure of what that moment actually did. Space camp registrations for this summer doubled in the weeks following the Artemis II splashdown. The Huntsville, Alabama facility, which has trained more than 900,000 young people since it opened, many of whom went on to become NASA astronauts. And me, I never went to space, though. Is seeing a surge in kids and teens signing up in numbers not seen in years. That number doubled is the kind of cultural impact that's hard to manufacture and impossible to fake. Kids saw 4 people go to the moon and come home, and something clicked. There's a detail in the broader coverage that I wanted to highlight because it's one of those things that feels almost too perfect. Jared Isaacman, NASA's current administrator, attended space camp in Huntsville as a kid. He dreamed of reaching space. He went on to lead 2 private space missions, and now he's running the agency. The kid who sat in that camp in Huntsville is now the person making decisions about where humans go next. That's the through line. A kid watches something happen, it plants something, and decades later, the thing that was planted has grown into a life. That's what inspiration actually does. It doesn't produce a result immediately. It changes the direction someone is already moving in, and the change compounds over time. It's nice to see kids getting inspired to do big things. We've spent a lot of this month talking about Gen Z's job pessimism, the anxiety data, the financial pressure, and all of that is real. But there's also a generation of kids who just watched humans fly around the moon, and some of them are now trying to figure out how to be part of what comes next. That matters. Was there a moment in your childhood, a mission, a discovery, a person, anything that made you want to do something big? And what happened to that impulse? Did it lead somewhere, or did it get lost somewhere along the way?
Why don't you fix your little problems and light this candle?
He's right. Let's light this candle.
He surely is. Light the candle.
Yes.
Luis Salazar was using the bathroom at a Wawa convenience store in Riviera Beach, Florida on a Sunday afternoon when he noticed a fanny pack hanging on the safety railing inside the stall. He assumed whoever used the stall before him had forgotten it. He looked around the store to see if anyone had left it. Nobody claimed it. He opened it looking for an ID. He didn't find one. He found instead several large wads of cash, total $30,000 in total. His mind went, in his words, numb. He spent several days trying to locate the owner. Meanwhile, the owner, who declined to be identified, finally noticed the fanny pack was missing and called Riviera Beach Police. He had been carrying it for a family emergency. Police reviewed Wawa's security footage, identified Salazar, and contacted him. He brought the fanny pack to the police station with every dollar still inside. When the owner got it back, he cried. He hugged Luis, so I give him his bag. This is yours. And he was crying. And he hugged me, Salazar said. His explanation for why he never considered keeping it. It's not my money to take. I was not raised that way. Most of us would do the right thing, or at least I like to think so, but it would take a second, and the thing that would tip it for me is imagining how you'd feel if it were your money. Salazar said something similar. It simply wasn't his to take, and that was the end of the thought. What gets me about this story isn't just the honesty, it's the days. He spent days trying to find the owner before the owner even knew the money was gone. He didn't drop it at a lost and found and forget about it. He actively worked to get it back to the person it belonged to with no guarantee that person would ever be found. I wanted to note that Luis Salazar didn't do this for coverage. He did it because he was raised a certain way and that's who he is. The coverage is just how we got to hear about it. Have you ever found something valuable that clearly belonged to someone else, and what did you do? And what went through your head in the moment before you decided?
A genuine all-American hero.
The Oxford Longevity Project, an interdisciplinary group of British medical experts, researchers, and public health specialists, presented findings this week at the Smart Aging Summit in Oxford that put a number on something people have debated for years. At least 80% of the ill health people experience in old age is driven by lifestyle and environment, not by genetics. The main drivers they identified are nutrition, exercise, sleep quality, stress reduction, and avoiding harmful substances, including alcohol and processed foods. One of the report's co-founders, a former British Army officer now 91 years old, said the 80% figure was intentionally conservative. Some have gone higher and said it's approaching 90%, but I think 80% seems about fair. The genetic piece is more nuanced than it might sound. Genetics do dominate for certain conditions. Alzheimer's, dementia, breast cancer, and prostate cancer, they all have strong genetic components. But for the leading causes of disability and death globally, lung disease, heart disease, liver disease, environmental and lifestyle factors are the primary drivers. And importantly, many of those environmental factors can be changed either by individuals or through policy. There's a caveat worth naming because the researchers themselves name it. The study focuses on what individuals can influence, but critics note that it risks obscuring the role of structural factors, poverty, pollution, healthcare access, that aren't really individual choices. Where you are born and what resources you have access to shape your lifestyle options in ways that a pure personal responsibility framing can flatten. Both things are true simultaneously. Individuals have more power over their aging than most people realize, and the conditions that make healthy choices possible are not equally distributed. This is just another sign we should probably all go for a walk. The research on exercise and longevity is one of the most consistent bodies of evidence in medicine. It works across age groups, income levels, and genetic backgrounds, and the dose required to see a benefit is lower than most people think. A brisk walk most days does something measurable. You don't have to run marathons. What's the one habit you know you should change and keep not changing? The thing that's been on your list for a while that keeps not happening. What would it actually take to change it?
You're what we call a goner.
The Titanic series on SideQuest continues, and if you haven't listened yet, now is a great time to start from the beginning and binge the whole thing. Free condensed version for everyone, full extended cut for paid subscribers. If you want to support what we do here and get more of the good stuff, a paid Substack subscription is the move. Find SideQuest wherever you get your podcasts or visit newssidequest.com.
Would you like to know more?
Harvard's faculty voted to cap the number of A grades given to students in an effort to address grade inflation at the school where, in recent years, A's have been the most common grade by a significant margin. This doesn't make much sense to me. Grading is supposed to reflect the quality of your work, not the distribution of grades in a class. Capping A's means some students who did A-level work won't receive A's, which is a different problem than the one Harvard is trying to solve.
You know, a lot of people go to college for 7 years.
I know. They're called doctors.
A man in New Jersey was charged with robbery after using Google Translate to demand cash from a store clerk. He apparently held up his phone with the translated demand rather than speaking it aloud. He probably didn't want to bring his own translator since he'd have to split the money they stole. The Google Translate approach also left a digital record of the specific demand, which did not help his case.
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
Mutant wild pigs have established a growing population in the Fukushima exclusion zone in Japan, where they've been breeding largely undisturbed since the 2011 nuclear disaster forced human evacuation. The animals show physical changes consistent with radiation exposure. Someone had mutant super pigs on their May Bingo card, and I want to know who that person is. The zone that humans had to leave has become apparently a thriving environment for radioactive boars. I think radioactive boars are playing Lollapalooza this summer.
I'm afraid you've suffered some of the worst of what our mighty little friend the atom has to offer. It can power a city or level it.
A 14-year-old girl in China allegedly faked unexplainable spontaneous bleeding for a year and a half to avoid going to school. The scheme involved elaborate staging and sustained commitment over 18 months. You almost have to admire the dedication. A year and a half is a long time to maintain any performance, and if she applied that creative energy and persistence to literally anything else, she'd be better off.
Just remember, it's not a lie if you believe it.
That's it for this thrilling news side quest. Earlier this week, we talked about the scientific reason why people are left-handed or right-handed. I mentioned that my grandfather was actually punished in school for writing with his left hand. Ben said, when my mom was a school kid, her teachers tied her left hand down to force her to learn to write with her right hand. It did not stick because she was left-handed her whole life, so she remained evil. 3 questions out there for you this time around. The moment in your childhood that made you want to do something big and what happened to it. A time you found something valuable and what you did with it. And the habit you know you should change and what it would actually take. Email me at newsidequest@gmail.com or hit me up in the Substack comments. Have a great holiday weekend and remember why we're all off work. See you next week.